Recently, Chancellor Rachel Reeves announced she was making huge cuts to public spending to fill a £20 billion black hole in government finances. Much of these cuts have come down to great public outcry on the disabled and the elderly, and many more government departments have been told to make major cuts in order to balance the budget. On the flip side, many right-wing people have tried setting up their own British Doge as a way to highlight government waste like Elon Musk does, mostly to complain about how much local councils are spending on diversity initiatives. These things cost like 50k, which is basically chump change in terms of government budget. I think this is lazy culture war shit that I'm concerned for public finances. I think I could do a better job than both Rachel Reeves and these Elon cock polishers. If you gave me like a 1,000-page binder with a line item breakdown of everything the government spends money on, I could easily find £20 billion worth of savings, in ways that the average citizen of the UK would not even notice or care about if it went missing. 20,000 useless things costing at least £1 million. That's like shooting fish in a barrel in Britain, and today I'm gonna show you. The point of a charity is that it does things the government is failing to do, like help the homeless. The anti-homelessness charity Shelter got £3.1 million last year in government grants. They do things like campaign for more social housing and more rights for tenants. What's the point in the government paying a charity to lobby the government? How many homeless shelters could we build with £3.1 million per year instead? At least one. By giving £1.52 million to the Salvation Army, you're admitting that you're doing a bad job at helping the poor, and it's only 0.5% of the Salvo Army income. They'll be fine without it. A lot of religious organisations get grants too. The North England Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, $1.33 million in grants to a random evangelist group with 13,000 members. If they can afford their own media studio that underscores our commitment to digital evangelism, they don't need my tax money. Another one, £12.8 million given to a Catholic-only school in Liverpool run by the Catholic Church. As if the Vatican are short on change, why didn't they ask the Pope for money? And many of these charities are just fronts for lobbyists. The Soil Association, building a public awareness of the benefits of organic food and farming. And then you look at their website and we're calling for urgent action for the UK government to help increase demand for fruit and veg and increase fruit and veg production. That's not a charity, they're lobbyists for the farming industry. $1.38 million from the government last year. Check this out, $1.52 million to a private schools charity. A private school is a business. If it can't afford to exist on the outrageous fees of its customers, it shouldn't be propped up by the taxpayer. Worst of all is the animal charities. There's nothing wrong with them like morally, they're not corrupt, but a donkey sanctuary in Devon has more donations than all the domestic abuse charities in Britain combined. The government does not need to be funding these. The Royal Society for the Protection of Birds made $169 million in donations in 2024. $14.8 million, or about 8%, came from government grants. As far as I know, the only thing the RSPB do is build information signs at beaches and launch legal actions blocking construction projects. They don't need this money. For this video I set the cutoff point as anything over £1 million, but I found many smaller charities claiming tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of taxpayer pounds. Society would not change radically if we cut off funding for these so-called charities, and the money saved would probably add up to something significant. Charities are things like soup kitchens. The government should not be paying money to religious groups, private schools, or animal shelters. Quangos, quasi-non-governmental organisations. There are hundreds of these groups run by appointed bureaucrats making decisions that government ministers, our elected leaders, cannot overrule. Most recently, the Sentencing Council, which advises judges and magistrates the appropriate punishments for criminals, made a very controversial decision that the Justice Secretary was unable to overrule despite her being against it. Decisions on this should be made by our elected officials, not some random bureaucracy on a budget of $2 million per year. There are also tons of completely useless organisations that do nothing of value. Transport Focus. With a budget of 6.4 million, this group lobbies the government on behalf of rail and bus passengers to ensure they get affordable tickets and a smooth journey. Train ticket prices have done nothing but go up since it was created, so this quango is useless. Abolish it. The Youth Parliament. No other serious country lets 10-year-olds play pretend politics in their national legislature. It costs 2.4 million and nobody would miss it if it was gone. Nothing would change. Commonwealth Scholarship Commission, £25 million. This was set up to offer scholarships to people of outstanding talent from across the Commonwealth. Considering there is no shortage of foreign students, especially from the Commonwealth, this is not necessary. Immigration Advice Authority, £3.6 million. The IAA doesn't advise people on immigration. It regulates the people who give advice on how to immigrate to the UK. Considering people are now getting their immigration advice from TikTok and YouTube, the IAA is never going to keep up and is not worth it anymore. Locate ED. An organisation with around 55 employees that advises schools to ensure new buildings are value for money. The director makes £250,000 a year, more than the Prime Minister, might I add, on a budget of 8.1 million per year. Office for Zero Emission Vehicles. 7% of cars in the UK are electric, it's 88% in Norway. All Norway did was remove VAT on EVs, give electric cars free parking, and let them use bus lanes. The British government went the stupid route of just giving grants to people to buy electric cars and subsidising the installation of charging points at a conservative estimate of 200 million per year. The government geography profession was established in 2018 to support the geographical expertise across the public sector. Our vision is to create and grow a high profile. What would we do without those 11 employees? I could not find how much this department budget is, but whatever it is, it's too much. I assume it's about £1 million. Equalities and Human Rights Commission. What's this? I want to get rid of human rights? No, this quango was created in 2007, famously the year human rights were invented. However, since then there has been a consistent decline in the state of human rights in this country, and most recently the EHRC has been taken over by transphobes who spend taxpayer money campaigning against transgender people. So at best, this organisation is a useless virtue signal, or at worst is actively undermining human rights. Abolish it, save 17.1 million per year, and take the win from the anti-woke crowd. Independent Anti-Slavery Commissioner. Created in 2015, 182 years after slavery was made illegal, most people's only interaction with this organisation is when they see basically companies having to write a yearly report saying, "We do not hire slaves." Thank you for quelling my suspicions. I was worried the Guardian supported the Confederacy. I have doubts that an office of 3 people writing reports with a budget of $500,000 per year has actually had much of an impact on stopping the modern slavery industry. And the problem with having so many of these well-meaning organisations is that they eventually begin to conflict with each other. In one part of the government, we spend millions trying to get people to drink less alcohol. In another part, we spend millions trying to save pubs and breweries. They cancel each other out, making millions of taxpayer pounds go to waste. Most foreign aid is for good causes. I certainly have no issue with a tiny fraction of my taxes providing disaster relief and building wells in Africa. In other cases, however, it's pretty clear that we need to stop paying for this stuff. India literally said they don't want any aid from us. And is it really right that a country that is richer than the UK, that is sending rockets into space, can receive £19 million a year from us? This criticism of foreign aid is so common that when you click on India's page in the UK Development Tracker website, it hits you with statistics showing how many people gain access to clean water because of British aid. I'm sure if we sent foreign aid to the USA, we'd be able to tout similar statistics, but we don't, because they're a richer country than us and they can sort their own problems out. Other countries that definitely don't deserve overseas development aid include 10.3 million to Turkey, a fellow NATO member where we have a 13% approval rating, 1.6 million to Morocco, who have more high-speed rail than Britain, 800,000 to Serbia, a place my parents went on holiday last year, 200,000 to Malaysia, home of the second tallest building in the world, £149,000 to scientists in Beijing, 48,600 to Argentina, and a few thousand to Belarus, who is currently helping Russia be the reason for our 4th largest international aid recipient. So, Miss Reeves, can I call you Rachel? Rachel, finding your missing 20 billion budget black hole is easier than you think. You don't need to raise taxes on employers or tighten disability benefits, as I have shown. For just a day spent Googling and reading reports found on gov.uk, I've got you 1.6% of the way there. A team of people in your department with access to more detailed information could easily find the remaining 98%. So if you want to give me a shot with that 1,000 page binder, give me a call.